We got 6 new Master Set players for the Nations of Hockey event in NHL 24. In this video, we're going to put them in a tier list. Again, I want to reiterate, just like all my other ranking videos, if you have a player in this event that is from your favorite team, or you really like the player, please just make that card. We got to stop just being mindless trolls going after whatever is deemed like the next must-have card. Use your favorite players. Now, this event does look to give you enough to get a free Master Set player based on the amount of objectives from week 1. There will be a second week as well. I also want to reiterate, please don't rush out and make a card if none of these are of your favorite players. Always wait for week 2 of an event because they usually release better cards in week 2 than week 1. Let's get into it. Also, I want you to keep in mind that it will cost you 12 power-up collectibles and that you will only get 6 in return if you downgrade them. When you go and refund the tiers that require 3, it rounds down, not up, meaning that you are only going to get 1 in return, which is pretty brutal. You can always go to tier 4 and just put 1 power-up collectible in tier 3 and tier 4, and you can refund that, get the full power-up collectible back. So always keep that in mind. If you really want to try out a card, put them up to tier 4 and know that you can always just get everything back. All right, let's start in the D tier. These are cards that I would not recommend at all unless you are a diehard fan of the player, and that's going to be the 89 Ryan Ellis. I think there are some cool things about this card, and I can understand what they are trying to do. I actually respect when the content team tries and builds cards that are custom builds for a specific player from a specific era of their career, and this fits the bill. Ryan Ellis is 5'10", 180, obviously not the biggest, and he's got 75 body checking. 92 speed and acceleration is not fast enough, in my opinion, to make up for the fact that he is a complete liability defensively, meaning that unless you have a god tier card that is a left-hand shot, someone like Regier or Mitchell, anytime that you get into your zone, he's useless. He does have a great shot, and he's got offensive defenseman. I'm a little confused as why he didn't get shooting boost as a synergy, simply because that would have maxed out his shot, meaning that he would have had 99 across the board. Still, his shot is good. They did give him Thunderclap, which is a interesting ability because it activates so far away from the blue line that I think this actually has some use, as does 1T and Elite Edges. It's just that you're going to have to rely on him in your own zone at some point, and he's got 85 defensive awareness. That is the most important stat among defensemen. It is the stat and attribute that will dictate how likely they are to intercept a pass. And we all know how hard it is for AI to intercept passes. So this is a hard avoid across the board. All right, next up, I'm going to put John Gibson in the C tier. Now, honestly, his build is not great. 6'2" is a little below average in what you're looking for a goaltender to be successful, especially in online play. And his synergies are actually kind of brutal for a goaltender that's going to cost you a lot to make. You want to have your goaltender have some synergies that are really tough to activate, like speed boost or accelerator boost, for example. The reason why I have him in the C tier is because his abilities are very interesting. He has essentially the best ability combo that you can have in game with Gold Showstopper, which does work. This is one of not just the best abilities among goaltenders, but in the game. It drastically impacts what happens when your goaltender is under siege in your own zone. You don't have to worry about him flopping around all over the place so quickly because Showstopper will drastically reduce the fatigue you receive when making a save. Butterfly Effect has been known to be half decent, and Instincts is one of the abilities that I really want to see more of. I talked about this in my prior video. During the beta, it was one of the most overpowered abilities, and not just when you're manually controlling goaltenders. Your AI goaltender will receive the maximum buff for it, and it basically makes them improve all of their abilities when making a save. It's very vague, but I've seen it work in the past, so that is why John Gibson is in the C tier. Moving up into the B tier, the 89 David Pastrnak, 6'1", 195. For all intents and purposes, a very good card. His shot is almost maxed out. He's got 93 speed, acceleration, and agility, as well as very good hand stats. The issue is, because this is the World Junior version of David Pastrnak, his body checking is only 75. He has no abilities that will help out being deficient in his own zone, so he's a pure offensive card. And if you are going to invest the massive amount of resources it will require to build him all the way up, I just don't really see the value. Like, for example, the 87 next-gen Connor Bedard, in my opinion, has a better ability combo and is a very similar build and card that would be very similar. If you are a Bruins fan, though, please make this card. Moving into the A tier, we've got the 89 William Nylander. Now, like in my video when I went over the event, I think this card is very good. 94 speed, acceleration, maxed out agility if you can activate some synergies. He's got a very good wrist shot at 93 overall. His hand stats are all in the mid-90s, but again, obviously, only 80 overall body check. He's got gold elite edges, which is still great. Silver make it snappy and tape to tape are fine. My real issue issue with William Nylander and why he's not an S tier card is because for over half the price, you can just go get his Global Series card. And in my opinion, he's got a better ability combo all the way around with Gold Make It Snappy, Unstoppable Force, and Elite Edges. He's got maxed out hand stats here with the Synergy combo and has Shooting Boost as well, which is a much more common synergy being able to activate right now. Better body checking and defensive awareness. Like if you really wanted a William Nylander card and didn't care about the card art, I'd much rather just for, 30% of the cost, go get William Nylander. Also in the A tier, we've got the 89 Timo Meier. 6'1", 220 with power forward as well as checking boost. The benefit here is simply his size. At 92 speed and acceleration, he's in line with all of the other Master Set players and most of the other high-end cards that have come out from events so far. He's got a good wrist shot power and accuracy at 92. Hand stats are 90 across the board. Body checking is 91. The big benefit here for Timo Meier is that he's got gold unstoppable force and he's 220 pounds. Add in the fact that silver truculence on a forward can cause a lot of havoc. Not so much just the actual hits that you can lay, but every time that you get into a shove check battle, you are sapping the defenseman's energy, and I think that's something that's overlooked a lot with truculence. Close quarters has been nerfed, but it definitely still has a place as well. The real downfall with Timo Meier is that there's so many strong top-end left-handed winger options that a lot of the player base probably would end up having this card on like their third line. And finally, rounding out the A tier, the 89 Alexander Barkov, 6'3", 215. This is elite size. A fantastic card. And I actually think Gold No Contest has its place. For anyone that doesn't know what No Contest does, essentially it will allow you every time that the game features something where the physics break. So let's say your stick goes through the boards or through a player's leg. What people aren't aware of is that the game will code in a second or two where you can't handle the puck cleanly, and that's because your stick shouldn't have been in position to get the puck because it was just through the boards or through the stick. It's how they get around trying to make it more realistic even though the physics went backwards. No Contest will essentially eliminate that delay that you'll receive every time that there's an instance like that. By no means am I saying it's a fantastic ability, but it does have its usefulness. However, Yoink and Big Rig, they don't. Big Rig will not activate unless you are doing a motion where you are holding the puck, and in NHL 24, it is much more difficult for the casual player because total control switch. Yoink still gives you high sticking calls every time you do it, and then all around, he's got 91 speed and acceleration, which is fine. His shot is at 90, which is okay. Face-off rating is at 93. However, you can get it up to 97 with defensive boost, but a lot of people won't have two-way forward activated either. So, in all honesty, for the exact same price, essentially, go get Hut Champs Eric Lindros. The same skater, shots the same, takes a hit in hand stats, but is much better defensively and has great abilities across the board. All of that is why Barkov is in the A tier for me. So, obviously, with Team of the Year looming, a lot of people are not going to be fired up about this event. I don't think that should deter you from making one of these players if you really like the player, but I have a feeling that week 2 is going to feature a much stronger lineup, as it would more than likely be the last set of Master Set cards before we get Team of the Year, so you know EA is going to try and just get us to rip all those packs. Thank you guys again for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'll see you next time.